I'm Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to 1T.org's U.S. Chapter Summit. Globally, forests represent some of the most biodiverse parts of our planet and play an irreplaceable role in reaching net zero greenhouse gas emissions. Yet drought and intensifying and catastrophic wildfires are threatening our forests to such a degree that many are not able to regenerate on their own. This threatens the well-being of our planet and its people. Fortunately, we know sound science supports nature-based solutions, like planting the right tree in the right place at the right time. At the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we believe that with innovative policies and incentives, climate-smart reforestation and forest management can be a meaningful tool to increasing forest health. And it's not just our forests in rural areas. As extreme heat bakes our cities, urban trees are protecting the lives of our most vulnerable populations. Access to the cooling benefit of trees is a moral imperative. Urban leaders, like Tucson Mayor Regina Romero, and the cities of Ann Arbor, Boise, Las Vegas, and many more are showing us the way. Simply put, attaining our global climate goals cannot be achieved in the absence of investments and policies to secure healthy and climate-resilient forests. America's forests already capture more than 10% of our nation's carbon emissions each year, and they have the potential to do much more. We have to safeguard and restore our forests to ensure that they don't become carbon sources through catastrophic wildfire and other climate-driven events, rather than carbon sinks. On Earth Day, President Biden signed an executive order on strengthening the nation's forests, communities, and local economies. President Biden said, science-based reforestation is one of the greatest opportunities, both globally and in the United States, for the land sector to contribute to climate and biodiversity goals. The President directed USDA and the Department of Interior to set agency-specific reforestation targets by 2030 and accelerate seed collection and nursery capacity. What I've seen and what leaders like U.S. Forest Service Chief Randy Moore tell me is that our investments in reforestation rebuild our forests to ensure continued carbon, water, and wood product benefits. How we reforest, with new innovations, new science, and new planting techniques, makes our forests more prepared and more resilient for the next wildfire. Reforestation is more important than ever. That's why today I'm directing Chief Moore and Undersecretary Wilkes to take a series of immediate and near-term actions to build carbon stewardship and climate resilience in our nation's forests. Through the Secretarial Memorandum I'm sending them today, the Forest Service will build on their existing analysis of forest health by adding in additional data layers on carbon, on reforestation, on equity, and on old growth and mature forests. This data will inform policy development and decision-making to protect our forests, to store more carbon, and to make them more resilient into the future. In addition, and in particular to your interest, I'm directing that we develop an implementation plan to immediately increase climate-informed afforestation, agroforestry, and reforestation. I'm also directing, as the President called for, that we increase seed collection and nursery capacity, sufficient to meet anticipated demand, including collaboration with state and local governments, tribes, and private sector partners. These actions to go to the direction to develop guidance and build partnerships on private sector carbon projects, watershed protection, wildlife corridors, outdoor recreation, and wood product innovation will help secure the carbon benefits and climate resiliency of our forests. Vitally, all of these actions will be implemented in keeping with this administration's Justice 40, Civilian Conservation Corps, and climate change directives. But this is only one component of our climate-smart forestry efforts at USDA. USDA has embarked on a department-wide effort to enact climate-smart forestry and agricultural practices that are led from the bottom up, ensure that science and rigorous monitoring underpins everything we're doing, and benefits historically underserved communities as well. As an example, through the Partnership for Climate-Smart Commodities Initiative, we're investing $1 billion to finance the production of climate-smart products, including forest products. We've seen tremendous interest in this program, with over $18 billion worth of interest for the $1 billion in funding. So we're going to have a difficult time making decisions this summer. Additionally, thanks to the Replant Act and additional bipartisan infrastructure law investments, as well as increased private sector investments, The Forest Service is on track to plant 1.2 billion trees across 4.1 million acres over the next decade. This means more carbon stored, more climate-smart jobs, and more resilience for our forest-adjacent communities. In addition, reforestation. Through its wildfire crisis strategy, the Forest Service will begin work to restore forest health and reduce wildfire dangers in at-risk communities. This includes, over the life of the strategy, treating 20 million acres of national forests and grasslands and 30 million acres of other federal, state, tribal, and private lands to improve conditions across the landscape. I'm also very proud that earlier this week we made good on our promise to raise the pay of our wildland firefighters, who put their lives on the line for our forests and our communities every single day. Now we have more work to do, but this is a critical first step to acknowledge their sacrifice and to begin reinvesting in our workforce and our forests. In closing, I want you to know that at USDA, we are grateful for the efforts of 1T.org. Your innovation, your leadership, and your support are critical to our collective success. I look forward to hearing about the ideas discussed over the course of this summit and learning how we can work together to make certain that our forests continue to be a beautiful part of our country and a crucial part of our efforts to save the planet. Thank you for your partnership and for your support of our forests and for the future generations counting on all of us. Thank you for having me here today as well.